What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. I am way out of it, and this is a big topic, so we will do our best. I've been speaking with a sociopath who's been forward about caring for me, connection, all that sort of thing. And we're talking about the series of emotions and what those emotions mean and what's been happening and lots of thoughts on them. Now, the first thing was excitement. Feeling like you found the sort of thing you were looking for. And that was nice. That was a refreshing change of pace. You've met someone you can feel for who feels for you, and you both want to feel for each other. But then, two things started happening. One, reality started setting in, and two, fearful avoidance started setting in too, but it's more than that. It's realizing you have a misery addiction. And this woman is very perceptive. She picked up on it about the same time I did. Because I think part of fearful avoidance and misery addiction is hope and suffering. You dig yourself into a nice rut of suffering and hoping. You get so accustomed to misery, you also get accustomed to the misery process, let's say. What keeps you going through misery? This idea of tomorrow, or this idea of the win. Getting what you've been looking for. But the issue is, you're not really looking for anything. What you've done is gotten yourself addicted to the thing that allows you to survive misery. Which sounds like a good thing, because it makes misery bearable, but the issue is, once you finally reach a position you might be able to escape misery, you want to put yourself right back in the misery, because hope is the devil. Hope is everything you've ever wanted and anything you could want, all at once. The fact you don't have it is what makes it so intoxicating. In other words, this intoxication you've gotten yourself addicted to relies on your having nothing. You don't want something, you want the idea you could have everything and anything. So when you finally might have something, it's scary. Because escaping misery is the same as quitting drinking or quitting smoking. In getting this thing, you are on the cusp of putting down the harmful substance you've been using for so long to make yourself feel better. And another way to look at it is, you don't like alcohol per se, you like the way alcohol makes you feel. You don't like misery, but you like the intoxication of hope. So now that you're here, now that you have love, and English needs lots of different words for lots of different sorts of love. So you finally get what you think you were looking for, and you get this rush of that ecstatic love. And then you quickly realize that is not what you found. Because ecstatic love is not a sustained thing. Ecstatic love is the climax of misery. It's brief and it relies on illusion. And once you've come down from the climax, you're confronted with a connection that, ironically, prevents you from going through this addictive cycle you like so much. Because I do feel love for this woman. And even my phrasing of that gets at part of what I'm saying and what she picked up on too. I love her, but it is a very different sort of love. It's an unexciting love. It's not passionate and ecstatic. And it's not even super warm all the time. It is warm sometimes, not in the same way, but it is good and it is stable. It's sustainable. The issue is instinct screams at you to throw it away, and there's a lot of pain here. The addictive side of you wants to blow it up and throw it away so you can get straight back into that self-destructive, eternally miserable addict cycle. But there's also this terror of aimlessness. And we'll talk about purpose and aim a bit. It made me feel like the post-credit scene of Finding Nemo. You're here, now what? And we'll get into all the bad ways that feels. It's also terrible feeling that you might have catfished someone you love. You had every intention of giving them this ecstatic love, and all at once you realize you can't. And she realized that, and she did a really good thing. There is an urge to fake it once you realize this. The climax is over. One sort of love has ended, and now another sort of love is beginning. But you, in fear and guilt, are trying to make it seem like the ecstasy is still going on, and it isn't. She called me on that before I could even get into faking it heavy. You don't want to hurt them because you love this person. And by the way, yes, I am pretty quick with my feelings, but I'm quick with my feelings because I want to feel all the different things that can be felt. And also because if you're going to feel something, you might as well feel it now and start working on it and with it rather than dragging it out and making it worse for everybody. You ask the question, is this my life now? Because you've lost your purpose. You've lost the dopamine hit that comes from hoping and not having. Now you have, now what? Aimlessness is scary. And there are those guilt feelings. And on top of that, there is this emptiness, this dread. This dread of realizing you technically got what you wanted, and it didn't fix the hole. And in fact, it probably, well, it didn't make the hole worse. Rather, it deepened your understanding of how deep and fucked that hole is, which to you and your human consciousness is as bad as finding a new problem. But there are other sides to this. Namely, your awareness of your misery addiction and your awareness of what life is. No solution, no salvation. You already knew. You knew going in, you'll know until the day you die, there is no filling that hole. There is no beating it. But you, stupid, got addicted to the chase of fixing it. Even if you know there's no finish line, by merit of your running, I think you fool yourself into feeling you'll reach some finish line. Which is why you need no solution, no salvation in your life, in your face, at all times. Because that is so painful, you will make yourself forget it even as you're aware of it. But anyway, with the misery addiction, you're at least aware you're doing this. You have been in this position before, and you know if you do what your addiction is telling you to do, which is blow it up, run, get right back into your safe, secure misery, you're going to be miserable. So if you need to be aimless and miserable and confused and stagnant, or aimless and miserable and confused but progressing, the latter is better. And maybe this is an even deeper misery addiction cycle, but we'll get to that someday. We are objects in motion. My goal is, and it was, but it is really now, to practice loving in this lower intensity, boring way consistently. Because you need to train yourself to do this if you want to break this cycle and enter a different one. And this is maybe another point of identification with sociopaths. I think about their daily decisions to be good people or to do this or that. I'm feeling a similar way about love right now. My body is telling me not to care about this love. And I recognize that as an addiction thing, wanting to get back into the safety and security of misery and yearning. So, in a way, I normally don't. I need to choose to do something I don't want to do or don't care about. Now, you do that because we say this is all instincts. There's an even deeper instinct that this is a choice you need to make, but up in front of your face, it doesn't feel that way. Up in front of your face, you feel very little. Now, part of the reason I think this is a good choice to make is purpose and purposelessness or aimlessness are like breathing. There are inhales and exhales. Just because you're feeling something now or not feeling something now doesn't mean you'll stay that way. In fact, odds are good you'll enter another inhale cycle and purpose will come back into your life. Because purpose it's a tricky illusion. You need to trust purpose and passion even will return to you, or that they can return, because you have precedent for that. You know how it feels for purpose to come into your life and to leave your life and to come back for reasons you don't agree with or even understand. This is a situation you need to look at your life practically. Will you choose to throw away this stable upgrade you found, hoping to try to feel better, which you know, even if you do manage to feel better, which is not guaranteed at all, you will have thrown away this upgrade? Or do you stick with the upgrade regardless of how you feel and trust purpose will come back? The wind will blow back in your direction, and it always does. Maybe not on your time scale or not in the way you want, but part of being a human, an object in motion, is because you're in motion, your awareness of or experience of motion will come back by merit of the fact you are in motion. If you want love, you need to choose love, not the hope for or dream of love. That's the only way you'll break this cycle. And these are all more general ideas about love. I think love in all its forms heals. The trouble is making good decisions and sticking with them in the absence of glamour and certainty about something further out in the future. That's the fucked up thing. You're so in the dark, you don't know what you don't feel certain about. Do you have it in you to keep and maintain and grow what you have instead of going back into the fantasy degenerate gambling mode? That's what I need to practice. And I think it's doable. Because what else is there? But then there are concerns specific to this woman, Miss Vampire. It feels like we both got the same read at the same time. This probably won't go anywhere. And that's painful, that's ominous, because we do love one another. I guess we're both coming to terms very quickly with the fact this is not ecstatic love. Our foundation is mutual concern and care. There are shared interests and experiences, shared admirations, but that mutual concern and care is, I think, the foundation. But there are issues, misfires, some small ones, some big ones, if you're considering this sustained love mode. She feels afraid and hurt that she isn't what I want and will never be. I.e., I'm more interested in what I think she is or what I think she could be than who she is. And she also doesn't want me trying to morph her into something she isn't. All of which are very good concerns, and she is right to be concerned about them. Because while I do like her for who she is, I was trying to turn her into something. To be fair to me, nothing specific, but in terms of waves or frequencies, she went abruptly from a flat line to a super high and low frequency wave and then back to a flat line. Meaning there is something in there that is potent, that has been repressed her entire life by family, by religion and ideology. I didn't realize the religion aspect until recently. In her words, or close to her words, I'm paraphrasing, she has been trying to be dead while alive because she hates who she is that much. And I didn't realize there was a I knew there was a religious influence. I didn't realize there was a core religious belief there, which all makes more sense. So I was trying to undead her to tap into that energy for me and for her. And we can go the totally selfish route and say it's just for me, but then you need to extend it a little bit and acknowledge that I don't want her to be miserable, which also is for my sake. And then on top of that, she asked me to take the lead, which I'm not used to. I'm still figuring all this out. I'm not super sub guy, actually. I like two forces, but this is confusing. On one hand, it's like wanting to help someone establish boundaries, and then they establish the boundary that they don't want you to want them to establish boundaries. And then on a more personal level, we've talked about this before, but I like the interplay of who a person is and your idea of them quite a lot. And I'm sure you're familiar with the issue with having only your idea of a person, because then you're totally divorced from reality and you set expectations people can't meet or that they don't want to meet, and then everybody's miserable. But here, it feels like we've gone in, or we've done the opposite of that. If we focus and think about literally just what you are, then the love, or any potential love, is as limited as that literal version of a person is. It's stasis. And in stasis, what you have right now is all you'll ever have. And I get why she's like this. Her repression runs so deep, it's like she's bound head to toe and refuses to give herself even a little bit of wiggle room. Because that wiggle room is the devil's playground. But the issue is, you can't live like that. Or, I mean, you can technically live, but you'll go your entire life never knowing yourself, never doing anything, and never allowing yourself to. So she was right that I should put more emphasis on loving her as she is and not idealizing her potential, turning her into an idea. But without an element of that, what are you? A rock. And on the metaphorical to literal scale, closer to literal. And that kills me for a few reasons. It stunts anything that could be, and again in a selfish way, it stunts you too because in there or her binding herself, you get bound too because she's bound herself to this hyper repressed version of herself, and now you are bound to that hyper repressed version of herself as well. And that, because of what humans are, that can't end well in any configuration, alone or together. And then on top of that, you feel bad because it is selfish to want better for people you care about. Because who are you to say your definition of better is better than theirs or is right for them? You are being selfish. But it's also brutal watching someone commit to this self hatred. Someone who won't allow themselves even the chance. Someone who hates themselves so much they want to keep the possibility of healing out of it, which also limits how far the love can go. And I'm sitting here talking through this. Did we just end up in another situation in which love isn't real? Did that just happen? Are we so fucked that we ended up back in the exact same situation we're always in, but in a complicated way? And on one hand, I am one to talk with my self-hatred and feeling like I don't deserve to exist, but I'm at least not stopping myself from trying. But the reason I say all this is I'm feeling guilty because I can feel what she felt. This is stunted, and odds are good it won't go anywhere. But I was feeling bad and guilty because I thought that was my bad. Like I'd done something wrong, when in reality it's looking like it's both of us. Long term, I don't want to be with someone who represses themselves that deeply and categorically denies the possibility of evolution. I'm wrong for wanting to control her, and yes, desiring her potential more than the woman she is right now. And I was about to say, but she's wrong for wanting to be loved in this restrictive, self-chance denying fashion. But no, she did say repeatedly she'd be okay with my walking away. But that's brutal, because you can't not care once you do. Now, I don't hold that against her. Rather, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. She seems content with going along and practicing this stabler form of love. And I'm good with that too. This is good practice. But I feel bad that she doesn't want to be anything more than practice. I feel a little better now that I see this as a her choice, another her choice situation. But that is unfathomably brutal. This is some The Sun Also Rises Brett and Jake shit, which I haven't read that book in a long time. I had to look it up to look up the names. I knew Brett. Go figure, the main character of The Sun Also Rises is named Jake. everything lines up. And in The Sun Also Rises, Brett is a woman and Jake is a man. If I'm remembering correctly, this is post World War One. Jake got his junk blown off. So, and Brett and Jake have a really weird, uncomfortable, sad relationship. Pretty relationship. You'll hear me describe things as pretty sometimes. That's where I got that from. They love each other, but it's ever eternally stunted. Love is love no matter the sort, but there is only so far you can go. It's just sad. Maybe that's why, even though this love situation felt realer, my heart shields didn't drop. I mean, I've already trusted her more than I've trusted a lot of people in a long time, but that deeper inner shield still didn't drop. Did my unconscious or did our unconsciouses know? We realized it at about the same time, I think. We love one another. Maybe there is a love synchronization going on. In the service of utter brutality. She's an unbelievably good person, and I hate that the world has so thoroughly convinced her she is basically, utterly, eternally, irredeemably evil. She won't even give herself a chance. And I'll continue giving her a chance whether she likes it or not, because love is some irradiating shit. Maybe it'll destroy that strand of self-hatred and repression DNA, or a few strands of that self-hatred repression DNA, and she'll be able to give herself enough wiggle room to give herself a little bit of a chance at some point, because she deserves it. But I am going to have to be careful, because this is another situation in which this is a choice that I can't make for another person. Both because I literally can't, and also because I shouldn't. Even if I could try to force it, that's not the way to do things. If you want or care about evolution. I feel guilty that I want more for her. This is one of those situations you just know this is gonna be gruesome. Emotional gruesomeness. Because I guarantee you she's going to take this opportunity to blame herself like she's done something wrong. And in this situation, what you need to do is decide which bad decision you want to make. Do you want to be ready to run? And when you do, know that she will torture herself with it, like she caused all this to happen, which she didn't. Or are you willing to disrespect her wishes? And if you are, to what extent? How benignly controlling are you willing to be? Because you hate benign control, you hate benign manipulation. Oh, that's so fucked. I took a clarity piss. Content is the only constant in life. Content is the heat death of the universe. No matter what happens, the answer is to turn off your heart and to turn on your microphone. Digital dissociation. I hope everyone likes the show. I think what we're gonna do is stick to this stable, consistent, low frequency but good love and see what happens. This is gonna be so brutal. This is gonna be another Blood Meridian situation. It's going to end in a massacre and running, but maybe not. And we'll give that maybe not an earnest effort, but setting goals now. Let's practice buckling in and not ejecting the moment you foretell doom. We are marching into certain defeat, but we haven't gotten there yet. That's a useful thing. We. You pick up things that you're happy you've learned. That's one of them. There's no way this ends well, but it hasn't ended yet. And maybe this counts as emotionally compartmentalizing or checking part of yourself out before you even get anywhere, but if this is compartmentalization, then I don't want to know what the compartmentalization that's been going on this entire time is, how deep those compartments go. Part of me was already checked out. It feels like at all times, in all things, part of me is always checked out. We will see what happens. I'm not just going to let this shit win, but it's gonna be gruesome. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.